Okay, we're going to talk about seventh chords now. Seventh chords, you can tell because it's going to be, 3 sets of thirds instead of 2 sets of thirds like the triads are. So there's going to be 4 notes in every seventh chord. Now, for the diatonic ones, again, you can have all different kind of accidentals in here. Diatonic, meaning they are within the key signature. There are 5 types of seventh chords, so let's talk about all of them. Here's the best way to look at them. So first of all, the long way is to look at the root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and just say, are all the notes in the key or not, okay? That's one way to look at it, but I'd like you to think about it another way, okay? All the different types of seventh chords have a certain type of a triad and a certain type of a seventh. So let's do this one. A major, I wrote that weird. There we go, a major triad. If you have a major triad and a major seventh, okay? This is what we call a major seventh chord, okay? Literally, everything is major. Major 3rd, major 5th, perfect 5th, okay? And a major 7th, okay? That will give us our major chord. The best way to see this is to identify that as a major triad, and then you're gonna take a look at the 7th and see that that's gonna be a major 7th. The best way to find the 7th is to take the octave and go down half steps. If you just go 1 half step away from the octave, so the octave would be the C up here, C to B is 1 half step. 1 half step, that's the leading tone, that means it's major, okay? So now, let's take the same chord, another major triad, but now, let's make it a minor 7th, okay? If you do that, that's called a dominant 7th, okay? Dominant 7ths have a lot of tension in them, and they're great chords to, especially when you're finishing something, to say, here's a lot of tension and here's a lot of release. I don't mean dissonance, it just has motion to it. You'll hear when we do more ear training. So a dominant 7 is a very, very important chord that we'll learn later when we talk about chord progressions, okay? So this right here, if you have a major triad, again, major triad, minor 7th, that's what we call a dominant, okay? That's called a dominant. So now let's do this situation. We're gonna go a minor triad and a minor 7th, okay? So here you have, again, lowercase minor. I'll just write an M-I-N there, okay? This right here would be a minor 7th chord. Now, this is the only situation we have a minor triad, okay? What if you have a minor triad and a diminished 7th? It's not a diatonic chord. We're not going to use it in AP Music Theory or first semester theory in college, okay? So this right here would be an example of a minor 7th, okay? Another one is when we have a minor 7th, but now we have a diminished triad, okay? So now let's write a diminished triad and let's write a minor 7th. This we call a half diminished, okay? So if half diminished, well, then maybe you should have a fully diminished, which we do right here. Okay, so on this one, you're gonna have a diminished 7th and a diminished triad, okay? So here's our diminished triad, and we're gonna go ahead and make that a diminished 7th by giving it its double flat right there, and then this is called a fully diminished 7th. We just say diminished 7th, okay? And then we have different symbols for these. So this one right here, and there's also something called lead sheet notation. But on this right there, we would call this a C, capital M, 7. Or you might say M-A-J, you'll see that sometimes. On a dominant, especially with lead sheet notation, because we see them so often, if you write nothing and you just write the 7, it's assumed to be dominant. Now that's a capital C, right? So capital C7, dominant, okay? Sometimes you'll see them write dom, D-O-M. Sometimes so you might see C, dom 7. Sometimes you even see this, so be aware of this. C, a big M and a small m, major, minor. meaning the major and the minor here. You don't see that as often. I don't like that notation. That's what you'll see in lead sheets, or you might see it spelled out dom, okay? This right here is just lowercase c, and you're gonna write M-I-N 7, okay? This right here is a half diminished. Watch what we do on this. C, we do a circle, and we do a line through it, and we write the 7. We always write 7 on the 7th chord, okay, to make sure. And so we do the diminished sign, but we put a line through it, and this one right here would be a C, fully diminished 7. And that's how we would write these out, okay? So those are the qualities of 7th chords. I have a worksheet that you can look through to see how they look. And then also we're just gonna do a bunch of problems. And so the more you do these, the more you'll start to see them and learn all your 7th chords in root position, and you should be good. You just gotta do some work. Do some work, get some practice, you'll start to see these real easily. All right, take care.